Hi, welcome back to another reading vlog. Today and this week is going to be really fun. Today I'm going to do golf with my sister and my dad, and then next week we're going to Croatia, so we're going to be getting ready for that. And then I also need to try to get most of my summer homework done before I go on holiday, because it's going to be easier to do it from home than in a different room. And then I also have started listening to The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, which is apparently a 27-hour long audiobook, so that's going to take a while to get through. But since I've got flights and airport time, then that will be easy to knock out a few hours. But that's going to be in next week's reading vlog. So I've recently also started reading The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. I've only gotten... oh wow! I'm already 100 pages in. I didn't know that. I've already gotten 105 pages in. And so far I like the main character. At first I found her kind of difficult to picture, because I think that the description of the characters wasn't exactly as clear, and since she's a very small character in The Cruel Prince, you don't pay as much attention to her as you do to, for example, Jude or Cardan. But I am liking it. I don't know how to feel about Oak in this one, because I know him as a kid, but clearly he's not a kid anymore. But I definitely feel bad for, what's her name? Ren. So yeah, I am enjoying this so far. I'm going to try to finish it this week. Probably will. And I might read some more now. So it's Tuesday today. We went to the cinema today. We watched Despicable Me 4 and it was an okay movie, but it was fun to do it because we haven't done it in a while. I went with my dad and my little sister, and before we went I finished The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. So in terms of my rating for this book, I think I would give it 4 stars. I was tempted to give it 4.25, but that still feels a bit too high. I think 4 is perfect for this book. So in terms of the plot, I think it really picked up nicely towards the second half of the book, and the first half is a lot of getting to know the characters and their backstories, though I did instantly really like Ren as the main character. And in terms of the romance aspect for this book, don't go into this thinking that it's going to be another Jude and Cardan, because it's really not. But I don't think I like the romance as much. I love Ren. Like, Ren is such a great character, and her part of the romance is really good. And there are parts when Oak is part of the story really well. But then I don't like his charismatic side as much, because it feels like such a front, and it's so annoying when characters are like that, even if I know it's probably on purpose so that we can discover the true Oak and who he really is. But it's just irritating because it goes on and on and on, rather than getting us to see the likeable aspects of him, because if we can't find too many things that are likeable about him in the first book of this duology, I think it is, then it's going to be harder to continue if the romance is what you're rooting for. Now, it's not personally what I am. I loved the character development in this book. I think it was completely on point, and I also love the ending as well. It was a very good plot twist. I would definitely recommend you read it after you do finish The Cruel Prince. I reread the entire series because I couldn't remember much and I wanted to read this one, but I don't think it's as good yet. I'm going to read The Prisoner's Throne and see what I think about that before deciding, because my favourite book in The Cruel Prince was the third one, Queen of Nothing. So maybe I'll enjoy the second one more, now that, if you've read it, you'll know what I mean, now that Ren is in that position. Ugh, I really want to say, but I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, this was a really good book. And then I've also been listening to Name of the Winds, the audiobook, and I'm actually enjoying that one. I like the writing style, I like the descriptions. I don't like how it changes perspective and then it doesn't really tell you whose you're in, because that can make the whole thing a bit more confusing, because you have to work out, okay, so I'm with this character now and this person's point of view and he and they are saying this. So once you have all of that done, then you can start to enjoy the story more. But so far the plot hasn't really taken shape yet. So I was listening for over an hour and I'm only like 4% through, so it's quite a long audiobook. I think it's like 27 hours. However, I'm definitely going to continue with it. So far, I don't think there's been too much world building because I don't really know anything about it, and you've just been introduced to quite a few characters, so I don't know if there is a main character or if we're just following many main characters. Like, it could be Coates, if that's his name, or it could be the Smith's boy. I don't even know that his name, I've forgotten. Anyway, but I've been introduced to small aspects of the magic system, if that's the magic system, or maybe like the evil version of it. I'm making this sound really confusing, but that's because I've been given like scraps of information so far, and I probably need to listen more to be able to truly understand what the plot is and explain it to you guys. So since I'm listening to Name of the Winds, I need to decide what else to read. I'm reading Survive the Night on my Kindle, but it's gotten a little bit slow, which is not something I expected. I'm about 25% through, I think. So I think I'm going to start Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, and then I'll get back to you about what I think. Hi, now whilst I'd very much like to say it's the next day, that would be lying. It is Saturday and I have barely recorded any of the vlog this week, so I think I'm going to extend the whole thing to also include next week so that there's actually some footage for me to get out. Last night I finished Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood, and this book, I was originally going to say 3 stars, but 3 stars feels too high, so I know this is a really oddly specific rating, but I'm going to give it 2.9 stars. There were some aspects of this book I actually found really interesting, like the whole thing about the patents not being always belonging to you, if I'm explaining that right, and that the place that you're working for can take ownership of. I found that part really interesting and I had no idea it was kind of like that in the scientific world, so that was really good. But then the rest just kind of got dull. It was just not interesting. There were too many spy scenes and it was just, the main character just had so many different problems that Ali Hazelwood really went very little into. So she'd like share a little bit of information about this one problem and then a little bit about another and then a little bit about another, without really going into depth about any of these problems in our characters' lives, which makes it hard to have empathy for them. The romance itself was meh. I didn't really understand why the characters like each other. It was just like only desire almost. So for me it was not as good as Check and Mate, which I really enjoyed, but I'm going to still maybe try some of her more new work. Maybe I just need to read more of her YA novels. If she has any, I'll have to do research. So my room is currently a mess with all sorts of clothes that we're packing for Croatia. So don't really have much space to show you, which is why we're at a very boring angle right now. But I need to make sure I have all the books on my Kindle ready that I want to bring, because I don't bring physical books on holiday, both because they're heavier and because I don't want to damage them. So I think I already have most of them. I need to add the audiobooks that I'm listening to just in case that doesn't work. It should though, because it's obviously just on my phone. And then maybe I'll do some more research into some extra books in case I get bored or if I finish them on the holiday. I've actually gotten really distracted this month in terms of reading. I've started 2 new books and I think I'm reading like 6 books right now if you include audiobooks. I'm just not really getting hooked by anything, so I'm very glad that I finally finished that one, so I can at least say I've ticked that one off. So the 2 new books that I started was The Foxglove King, which I found just scrolling on Goodreads for book recommendations, and it looked really interesting, but it's kind of gotten a bit boring. And then The Time Traveler's Wife, which I'm 10% through, I'm actually kind of enjoying quite a lot. So the Foxglove King is about this girl who is kind of a necromancer, they call her, and she has the power of death, and that's illegal, and so that's kind of the main vibe of the book. And then the Time Traveler's Wife is about this man who sometimes gets jumped back in time, and then he seems to be falling in love with this girl Claire, and they meet at completely different ages. For example, at one point she's 5 and he's like 30, and then another she's like 40 and he's 20. It gets really weird, but I think I'm enjoying it despite it's a bit difficult to understand because of the different timelines, and I don't have the energy to keep track of all the dates that they explain, but it's still kind of just like a fun read so far, so I am invested. It is a lot later in the day and I can think of nothing productive I want to do right now, so I am just going to show you some of the parcels I got for school. I know I should be doing homework, or I should be editing, or I should be filming, or I should be doing something, well technically I am, but I should be doing something productive, and yet I've been watching BookTube for half an hour. So for school I got a copy of Macbeth because we need to be able to annotate. Why are these books coming to me with crinkled pages? It's actually starting to annoy me. I know some people really don't care about like cracking the spine and folded pages, but it really bugs me, and I know it shouldn't, but it does, and so seeing this is really annoying. Now I'm going to have to flatten it. Shakespeare makes no sense. Sorry if you like Shakespeare. And then, now this might seem a bit excessive, but I promise I will go through every single one of these black pens next year. I went through 1.5 of them last year, and I also use like other pens, so I will need these. Yeah, that's where it ends. That's where my little school haul ends. That's kind of the only stuff I have. I have been researching the plot of Macbeth, and it actually doesn't seem like a bad story. It's way more interesting than Othello, which I read earlier this year. Did I actually ever add that to my list? I don't think I ever added that to the list of books I've read. Okay, I'll do that when I'm done with this. But on the bright side, I can get through all of this without having to read it, because that's just the introduction. And there's a whole characters page as well, which I find really helpful. I kept flipping back to that when I was reading Othello. So now begs the question of what I should do. I could finish my English homework, which is mapping out a storyboard of the plot of Macbeth, or I could finish editing, which I really need to do, or I could read a book. Yeah, I think I'll do my English homework, because if I'm going on holiday, then it's kind of important that I get as much done as possible. Hi, yes I am currently in my car. My mum's dropping off my little sister's birthday party, and yes, I have got blue stickers and gems on my face. Please just ignore those, I was messing around. So today we're going to the hotel before we go to the airport early morning tomorrow. So once we drop off my little sister, I'm going to need to make sure all my stuff is ready before we leave, and then we'll be driving to the hotel. I'm only bringing 6 books with me, 2 audiobooks and 4 on my Kindle, and I'm hoping that I'll finish all of them in the holiday. Like, surely I'll be able to. It's over 10 days, but I'm really excited for it. So while I wait for my mum, I'm just going to read on my Kindle. explaining that I'm in Croatia, but yeah, I'm in Croatia. And so far it's so beautiful. You've seen some of the videos that I've taken, but it's absolutely gorgeous. We went in the jacuzzi, it was really fun, really relaxing, but I didn't record much because I was really worried about getting my phone wet. And in terms of what I'm reading right now, I'm reading The Time Traveler's Wife by, I have no idea who, off the top of my... I'm reading The Time Traveler's Wife by, I have no idea who. I can't think off the top of my head. I think it's Jennifer something, that might be completely wrong. Anyway, and I'm actually really enjoying it quite a lot. I wasn't really expecting to, because it has some historical fiction elements, and whilst that used to be one of my favourite genres, it's kind of gotten quite boring for me now. But anyway, I'm about 34% through, I think, and I'm hoping to finish it in the next couple of days so that I can also move forward with Lightning, which I've been reading for months now, and The Name of the Wind, which every time I try to listen to the audiobook, I just want to stop. So I think I might have to try to read it and see if I can get into it faster that way. So I might read some of that before bed tonight. It's a bit chaotic, all the different things I'm reading right now. So it's just, I'm never really in the mood for one thing. So I think it's because I'm reading a lot of adult fiction right now. And I think I have to think more when I'm reading adult fiction and use my brain more. And sometimes I just want to relax with a more simple young adult novel rather, because they're kind of just easy and they're more fun. So I think I'm going to, I know I shouldn't download another book, but I think I'm going to download the second book in the Good Girls Guide to Murder series, because I've only read the first. And I enjoyed the Netflix series, which I recently finished. I actually thought it was really good, most people didn't. And yeah, it varies from the story in quite a few ways. I don't think I mind it, I think it's fun. I think it's an easy watch and I enjoyed it. All in all, this trip to Croatia was absolutely incredible. We saw so many cute cats at all the restaurants we went to, and the food was absolutely incredible. Not only was the view great, but we also went to some great beaches. The water was always so warm, and the view was just incredible. I got lots of reading done, it was really nice. And we even went on this incredible boat tour by the old town, where we went to the Blue Cave and this beautiful beach. It was genuinely one of the most incredible things I've ever experienced, being on the boat, just watching the world go by. It was so much fun, and I'm so happy that I got to do this. Thank you so much for watching this video of my time in Croatia. It was incredible.